This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
The show to encourage more women to explore the possibility of using their skills and talents by participating in leadership roles within our community. I'm Tiffany James, and I have the pleasure of hosting this program. Her story is here to encourage more women in our community to engage and use their voice to bring attention to issues they are passionate about, with the hope that they will get more involved in our community. Please welcome my guest for today's show, Kim Wingrove. Kim Wingrove has been the Chief Administration Officer of Grey County since 2015. Reporting to County Council, she is responsible for delivering the county's services to residents and managing over 1,000 employees and a $270 million annual budget. Her 35-year career in public service has included CAO positions for the municipality of Guelph and Aramosa, the town of Collingwood, as well as serving the province of Ontario as Director of Regional Economic Development, Director of Rural Program Delivery, and Manager of Client Service for the Land and Resources IT Cluster. Kim grew up on a dairy farm outside of Guelph. In addition to several professional certificates, she has a bachelor's in education and a master's in leadership studies from the University of Guelph. Welcome, Kim. I'm excited to hear your story.
Thanks so much, Tiffany, and it's really a pleasure to be with you this morning.
So tell me a little bit about your background. Growing up on a dairy farm, that must have been interesting. Some pretty early mornings, I would assume.
It really was. We were a very entrepreneurial family, and my father was involved in a number of different businesses associated with the dairy herd. Pretty competitive family, and we worked hard, I think, as a family to keep all of the balls in the air and the business moving forward without a lot of outside help. So I had a lot of responsibility, I think, at a very early age, and I think that had some bearing in kind of shaping my character and my perspective moving forward. I've had an outside paying job since I was 15, and I was a bit of an odd duck in my family, reading books, poetry, music, pets. Things were things that were very important to me, but there wasn't really a lot of time for that sort of thing, and so I think I didn't have a lot of self-confidence when growing up. Of course, living in a very rural area, but then as I got to high school, going into a much more urban place was very eye-opening. I think I wasn't quite prepared for the differences in style and values, and maybe some of the level of sophistication that I saw in the people who were around me at school. So I wouldn't say. Some people say high school was the best years of their life. I would not say that.
I would agree with that sentiment.
And I really didn't have any exposure to people of, different cultures or different faiths or from different places until really I was well into my university careers.
So when you were growing up, did you go to a rural school outside of Guelph and then high school in Guelph?
That's right. That's exactly right. A very small, very rural public school, all the way up to grade 8, and then went to high school in the city.
Yeah, that would be quite the culture shock, I would think, maybe. Yeah.
Right? I was not the most fashionable girl at school.
Kind of hard to get up and get fashionable when you're up dealing with cows at 4 a.m.
Exactly.
Well, so what would you say is the main influences in your life? What made you want to get involved in municipalities?
Oh, it's been a very interesting road and a very different. I've done a lot of different things in my career, and I'm actually pretty grateful about that. When I was very young, I was really blessed to have grandmothers on both sides of the family who gave me so much unconditional love and support, and a wonderful best friend in high school. And I think with without those people around me, I would have been pretty lost. And so, that meant the world to me. And if I had a message to anyone out there who was listening, if you can be that person for a young person, you can really change somebody's life. And not by doing anything other than just seeing them and caring about them. Then early in my career, I was very involved in information technology, kind of an early adopter. I got a job at a business in Guelph, and they were bleeding edge when it came to running a financial system that connected multiple sites on a mainframe, and also using email to communicate. That just wasn't done then.
Okay.
It's
hard to believe that, right? When you think about it.
Yeah. And so I was the only one. I was the office manager. I was probably 22, and it was my job to kind of keep it going. So I developed some expertise. But then when I went to the province and after that, it brought me in contact with people in some very senior roles that I wouldn't normally have had any business having anything to do with, right? Except for that I had this kind of skill that was very unique at the time. And those folks brought me opportunities to take on new and different responsibilities and grow in my confidence in the career. Watching those people, I was able to see, how they conducted themselves, how they made decisions. And it made me learn early on about the power of being authentic and authentically yourself. I don't think I'd seen, and we'll maybe talk about this a little bit later on, about what it was like to be a woman in business who kind of owned her space and could say and be and make decisions. I think what I took away from that piece of authenticity is also to never, ever lie to yourself or to anyone else. If you can always live in the truth, you'll always be on safer ground.
And that probably stems back from your grandmothers and watching them and how they held themselves. It's really
Absolutely
important to have a strong matriarchal person in your life, and it's nice to know that you had those two to lead you into position where you are today. There's not very many women CAOs out there, so it's nice to see that. It's nice to see an example in our community as well.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Kim, what changed the trajectory of your life? So what moved you from IT, from that information technology and the starting ground with the email communications into municipal governments?
I had some very strong, smart women leaders at the province that I was honored to work with. Dr. Deb Stark was the deputy minister at OMAFRA. Dana Richardson was an assistant deputy minister at Municipal Affairs. And Rita Burak was the first secretary of cabinet, first female secretary of cabinet back in 1995. And 1995. Rita Burak was amazing. She was the CEO of Ontario Hydro, and also she worked at eHealth Ontario. All of those women demonstrated the power of being completely prepared by doing your homework. I never saw them come into a meeting not having read all the material and asked all the questions and done all the homework. And again, it was that part of being able to hold the space because you came to it from a place of being prepared. They also taught me how to listen, and how to listen more for what was the meaning behind the words as much as the words were being spoken. So that gave me a bit of a foundation when I was a bit younger. And then I felt there were a lot of gaps in my education and that I had an awful lot to learn. And so I was pretty driven to improve myself. a lot of the education that I took it on as I was working. I did my master's while I had my kids and everything. And I was the single mom too. So that was a fun time. And then a lot of professional certifications. Like I just, where I could, if I wanted to understand and know something, I really tried to dive right into it and to, take the courses and be able to learn what there was to know. Having kids, I think, teaches you or changes your perspective, and wanting to do better for them or leave a better world for them has been something that's meant a lot to me. And then for the last 13 years, I'm pretty lucky to have a pretty great husband who supports me in doing all the things that need to get done. You need that support at home, I think, too, if you're really going to be able to put in the extra time doing the work things. As far as the what made me want to be more engaged in the community or come into municipal work, I have lived in my lifetimes where I didn't have I was really on my own. I didn't have enough, and I wasn't sure where enough was coming from in the short term. So I've never taken anything for granted. And I have a pretty strong sense that fate can be pretty cruel to people. Your life can change completely in such a short period of time. Mm-hmm. So coming into that and wanting to serve the public and help things be better for more people is something that's really, really important to me. When I got involved in program delivery at the province, I made it my business to talk to the staff who were on the very front line and to the people that were the recipients of the service to understand what their perspectives were. And it became clear that sometimes there were pretty big gaps between what we thought we were doing and how that was actually working on the ground. And so then I thought, okay, well, we can figure out ways to do better, to be better, to develop and train these programs to better meet people's needs. And, in the role that I have now, things like community paramedicine and the SOS program and emergency housing. And I think all of those things, which are a little bit outside of the traditional scope of what municipalities are expected to do, are things that mean so much to me in my heart, because they're trying to meet people where they are and give them the best chance to, continue to make their own lives better.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the SOS program. I don't think a lot of people in our community know a lot about it. It's award-winning. It just won some awards, so congratulations. I think that's great. Did you want to elaborate a little bit on what the SOS program is?
I sure can. So SOS is Supportive Outreach Service. And its home is here in Grey County and with our Grey County paramedic service, but it's totally possible because of the partnerships that we have with so many community agencies, the mental health and addictions folks from Bright Shores and Canadian Mental Health and Addictions. Salvation Army has been huge, OSHARE, just so many different people have come together to be able to provide a service that meets people where they are. People suffering from mental health and addictions sometimes haven't had the easiest time with our conventional medical system. Plus, we all know what a terrible shortage we have here in Grey County with primary care. So going out, meeting people where they are on the streets and building a bit of a relationship with them to allow them access to some of the really most basic things that everybody needs to live, helping them find some shelter, ensuring that they're getting the medications that they might need, giving them basic food and clothing. If you can start there at the very, very beginning, and maybe over time get people feeling better, and then they feel more able perhaps to take that next step and look at taking some further treatment, or just having a more stable life.
Yeah, it's such a great program, and it's an initiative that started right here in our county. And I think that most people don't know about it, and it's just nice to know that it's here and that
we have some fixed spaces where people who know about us can find us, that and Sound, at the market, and various places around the county at fixed times. But those people are also out on the street, in the community, in the rural areas, coming to where we know that there are encampments or other things to try and reach people.
Yeah, I love that. You had mentioned, Kim, a little bit about the importance of getting involved in the community. How would you encourage someone to become more involved?
I think, first and foremost, as I say, I mentioned earlier about how important it is to be authentic and know who you are and what means the most to you. And so from that place, talking to people and asking questions, thinking about things that you might like to do or want to be involved in, no matter what, is I think a wonderful place to start. You want to be doing something that's going to be giving something back to yourself as much as giving back to the community, because that's the only way that it can be sustainable. There's so many different opportunities out there to volunteer with youth in the community, things like the training courses and the shop time at, like, in the Intersections Wood Collaborative, for example, United Way, Big Brothers Big Sisters, the Y. There are so many different things. If you go on 211, there's always volunteer opportunities noted there. And I really do believe that there's a place and a space for everyone, whether it's a little bit of time or a long time, a big commitment or a small one. There's something really magical about giving something back to the community and helping people. Everybody needs a purpose.
I love that. A lot of times when you're thinking about wanting to get involved, you're not thinking about what you're going to get out of it as well, it is an important part to think about. Yes. Because if you're not getting something out of it, you're not going to want to return and give more. So that's excellent advice. Thank you. I never thought of it that way. So what pivotal moment in your life inspired you? Those early mornings with the cows?
As I say, I think it really was. It really comes from that place of lived experience and knowing what it was like to be in need of some kind of support, whatever that might be, financial, community, health, whatever that is, and feeling like the system simply had so many roadblocks and barriers. When you're already down, being able to navigate complex things with a lot of parts to them is just expecting so much of people. And so to me, I just thought, we're spending this money, all of us. It's our tax money. Mm-hmm. We're putting it into a system. That system should work for us and with us. And I just feel really strongly that those of us in public service kind of have a duty of care and a duty of responsibility to ensure that the programs and the services that we deliver are as seamless and straightforward to use as they can possibly be. Is Grey County perfect? Absolutely not. But we try every day to listen and to understand and to make improvements and to tell, where we're working with the province or other funders. We try to help them to understand where there's opportunities to be different and better and to see better outcomes.
I love that. So what did you learn about yourself on this journey?
Well, as I say, it's been a bit of a circuitous path. I think most of all was to learn to believe in myself, to learn from mistakes and failures and not be consumed by them. I can be a much better leader now than I was earlier in my career, because I really have it in me to say to staff, to colleagues, people that I work with, that it's okay. All problems will always happen. It's that you don't get yourself twisted up in knots about the fact that a bad thing happened. It's what you learn from that bad thing and how you respond to the challenge that you're faced with. That's really the thing that makes the most difference. You have to take risks, and to some level, and it's only by being tested that you really know how strong you are, and that patience and grace and love when you're struggling are the best gifts that you can ever get, and therefore they're the best gifts that you can give to someone who needs them. There's a lot of strength in being willing to say, I don't know what the answer is, but help me find out. And there's so much happiness and contentment in letting other people take all the credit. People to other people, yes, go, you're amazing, I love you, keep going. That's what people want to hear, and to feel so supported that they can follow that own little voice inside in their own gut or in their own head, and to build their confidence. I had people at the beginning of my career who set me free to do things that really, when I look back at it now, I think that was a bold choice. But you know what? It built my confidence that holy smokes, they handed me the ball. I got to run with it. And you do. And it's not always perfect, but you learn every time. And so that was a gift, and it's a gift that I wanted to give back to the people that I work with. So some of these programs that we have here that you wouldn't see everywhere, I think are as a result of letting people on the team who really know what's needed out there, saying, okay, you go, I'll support you, and I'll help get counsel to support you. You keep doing the great work that you're doing.
That, Kim, that sounds like a really great leader to me.
Thank you so much.
It's nice when you let people soar and see what they bring you, and that's when you get those great initiatives that we are starting right here in Grey County that you're not seeing otherwhere, and people are looking to us to start these initiatives, and it's because you're like,
people have so much potential. They do. Every single person has so much potential inside of them if they can be supported to at least take the first step towards realizing that. The other thing I feel pretty certain about is that no one who's doing badly in life, who's suffering, needs anybody to remind them about that. They know very well that they're, really not making the cut. And so there's no sense spending time blaming and shaming and criticizing and doing those things. We're going to learn from this situation, and we're going to chart a different path, and we're going to go forward from here.
That's great advice. We're almost out of time, Kim. It goes by so fast. What's something that piques your interest or that's unexplored territory for you? I don't know if you have time to have unexplored territory or hobbies? I hope you do. But is there something that you would like to do if you weren't?
I think there's still so much of the world that I haven't had an opportunity to experience. I would really like to take the time to go and live for some extended period of time in just a completely different culture and have the opportunity to learn and understand about how and why things are how they are, and maybe to bring that back.
Oh, that's interesting. That's cool. Do you have a destination in mind? Just anywhere?
There's a few. I haven't been able to scope down the list yet. I'm going to have to do that soon, though.
Yeah. So what advice would you give someone trying to find their voice that didn't have the confidence and is afraid to take that first step on their journey?
First of all, you're not alone. Our numbers are millions. So we didn't have social media when I was growing up. I don't think it would have helped anything if we had. I strongly encourage anyone to find time, sometime, some way to find time to spend time alone with your own thoughts. I'm a huge fan of writing with a pen and a piece of paper. And if people are interested in an author, Julia Cameron wrote a series of books back in the day. One of them is called The Artist's Way. And it's really, that's the focus of that whole book. And whether you're an artist or any kind of a thinking person, Julia's advice about how to give yourself permission to know what you know and speak from your own heart, I just found so invaluable.
Well, could you say the name of that book again?
Her name is Julia Cameron. Okay. And the name of the one book, she has several, but the one that's a great place to start is called The Artist's Way.
The Artist's Way.
Yeah.
And journal. You said journaling.
Yeah, journal and be relentlessly curious. We all grew up in families and went to schools, and we internalized a lot of information about how you're supposed to be and what the right answer is. Maybe that's true and maybe it isn't. But it's all of our job to question those things and to validate for ourselves whether that's true for you or me or whoever.
Oh, Kim, I have enjoyed this so much. It flew by.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you so much for joining me today on Her Story.
You're most welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to end the program with a quote. I like to do that. I thought this reminded me a little bit about what I'd learned from you during my research. So it's from Cher, which might sound weird, but women are the real architects of society. And Kim, I think you are one of those leading architects in our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Hi, I'm Bruce McDonald, forward for the Owen Sound Attack. Rogers TV is the official broadcaster of the Owen Sound Attack. Catch all of our games live on Rogers TV, Georgian Bay.
Everybody knows not to drink and drive, but some people still think it's okay to take drugs and drive. Police have the authority, the ability, and the tools to determine if drivers are impaired by legal or illegal drugs. And because drug-impaired drivers can pose just as great a risk as drunk drivers, they face the same penalties, like the loss of their driver's license, a criminal record, fines, and more. A message from the RCMP, the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.